أنا اسمي رغيد من العراق، لاجئ في أمريكا. جيت إلى أمريكا مع زوجتي وأطفالي وعائلتي، وإلي حوالي أكثر من سنتين وشوية في أمريكا. تركت العراق في أواخر عام 2004. Everything happened after the occupation of the US troops in 2003 was kind of surprising. We personally, me and my family or friends, no one was expecting things will go this much bad and in this direction. So whenever something happened, we still hope and think, no, it's just temporary, it's going to be good, going to be fine. We'll just wait, things will get better. But it's always new things coming up, and it's always worse and surprising everyone. So being a worker, that's my profession, that's what I do, and that's the only thing I learned. I like to work in non-profit field, non-profit organization, because it always reminds me how I am for myself and my family. We are much better than thousands and millions of people. So you have this reminder every day, so you cannot forget that, you cannot miss it. While, for example, if you work for a business, it's all about how to make more money, and the whole environment will be is how to get more money and pay more money, and then when you get more money, you'll start spend more money. So at the end of the year, you did nothing except that getting more money, working more to get more money, to spend more money. And maybe it's not even, and you forget everything else in your life. But this is not the case where I used to work and where I wish always that I'm working, and I'm trying to keep myself in this path, is to remember other people, how bad they have or how difficult is their life. That will make mine easier. And doing this job in Iraq and at that time was a big of risk. It wasn't before. It was for me a lot of fun, actually, enjoying doing this work. But we became target. And because I worked for a small organization, not like United Nations offices, we were the easy target. I received death threat on my cell phone, my personal phone, and that was on October 2004. And because of that threat, I couldn't leave my home for like 10 days. I didn't even go to work. My family didn't even accept me to go outside anywhere. I didn't leave because there is no electricity or there is no some entertainment or something. No, I left just because I received even as security and safety. I mean, think about it. It's 2003. The tanks are moving on Baghdad, and we were working to supply some aids and provide some help for people, and delivering some stuff even when there's aircrafts going above and there is some fight somewhere nearby. So we've seen all of that. And I wasn't never afraid from a bomb or a blast car or something, because I'm a believer, and I believe if I have to die, I'm going to die. That's it. Then I understand and recognize it's kind of the general concept, so it doesn't really scares me. But when it comes to calling you by name, it's like the death is calling you. So this time I'm coming to pick you. It's not because you are nearby a blast car and you will die. No, I'm going and chasing you to get you. And that was that was different. And that's when I left with a small bag, thought that it will take a couple of weeks and I come back. And even my family was still there, my wife and children, they were waiting in Baghdad. And no one really expected it will take this long. But I've never came back. Because of many Iraqis moved to Jordan, there was Iraqi community within Jordan. But it was kind of big jail because we get stuck inside Jordan. If I leave, I cannot come back. because the visa issue and the restrictions of the number of Iraqis. I lived 4 years in Jordan. I visited Dead Sea once because I had visa at that time. It was just right after our arrival. And I couldn't visit Petra or Aqaba. The worst that I had to cross the street to the other side just because there is a police car there. And I know that I did nothing wrong. I'm not a criminal. I haven't done anything to escape from police. I've never done this in my life. When you don't have choice, you just pick what's the best at that time. And that was actually not the best, it was the only choice we had. Otherwise, it was very difficult to go any other place or another country. We thought it's just taking a few weeks and maybe things will calm down and we can go back to Iraq. And unfortunately, it took much longer than a few weeks. We kept under the hope that no, we will go back. Even my wife was looking for a new washing machine and we didn't buy one because no, we are coming back. I'm not buying a new one and put it there. So there was an incident in 2007. I really can't remember the month, but kind of end of 2007, where I thought to go and spend a week in Baghdad visiting my family. So my mother was talking to me over the phone and she said, you know that I would love to see you, I would love to see the kids. I wish that I can be with you, but don't come. That was actually very serious to me because it's my mother. Can you imagine a mother telling her son and grandkids, don't come? That was a big point for me. Then you realize, no, it's really bad, that it's not going to be better in a few weeks or even months. We were sure now it's going to take years, another years. So then we started to realize, okay, maybe it's taking longer. And that's when we bought the washing machine. When my daughter became 6 years old and she has to go to school, start first grade in school, and I went to register her at private school, and I was surprised that there is kind of law or something, regulation in the country, that any child his parent doesn't have legal papers, residence, they cannot enroll in schools. That was a big shock for all of us. So at that point, I started thinking this is a serious issue, and I started to realize that I wasn't thinking about future or long term. I was always thinking about present. Now, what's going on? How are things going on? So at that point, I decided to find an alternative. And again, there wasn't much of options. And I knew about the program for United Nations, for the UNHCR. And that's when we started thinking seriously to leave Jordan. And we applied to the United Nations UNHCR office in Amman. And we started the process to leave the country. She waited 3 years to get the washing machine. And it's ironic because when we get the washing machine, we travel to the United States a few months later. So I told her, you see, I told you. I didn't get a real choice, like to pick a place, and I didn't plan to go a specific place. When I went to the UNHCR office, they were asking some questions, and they were just asking main questions. Do you mind to go to the United States? I told them, no, I don't, because some people, they will say no. Yes, I do, so they will not consider them here. In our case, actually, I think that was the only choice available, because it's either United States or some countries in Europe. And the countries in Europe, they are accepting very, very minimum number of people. They have very high criteria to accept those people. So my only choice was the United States, which I accepted. I got the notification that I'm flying to the United States on December 31st, 2008. It was the last day in the year. They called me and they said, you will travel on January 21st, 2009. And that, I told him, are you kidding me? It's 3 weeks from now. He said, sir, we notified some people just 10 days before that trip, so you consider yourself so lucky to get 3 weeks. Are you serious? He said, of course I'm serious. He get a little bit upset with me. And when I got it, wow, I didn't even know what to do. It was the last day of the year. We were expecting this going to happen. We thought we are ready for it. And when I say we, it's me and my wife, definitely. But when you get the call giving you the dates 3 weeks before, you have this big mix of emotions that, now it's serious, and now it's the moment. And I had a lot of discussions and arguments, and I spent months thinking about that. But at that day specifically, and the next day, it was really, really, really the toughest and the hardest time. I was afraid. I was afraid to death. While I'm going, I'm taking a wife and 3 children to somewhere, some place that I have no idea how things are working there. I'm taking my family from a planet to another planet. It wasn't from country to another country. It was a planet to different planets. And when we came here, I saw many things. It's totally different. Absolutely, it's totally different planet. One of the things that might look simple, or for the people who was born and raised here in this country, they will think about it. They don't think about it. But for us, it was difficult. It's the choices you have here when you do anything. The first time we went to grocery store, my wife has the list of the things we want to buy them. And we went to buy tomato. In my country, Iraq, and even in Jordan, all the countries I visited in the region, when we say tomato, it's this round, red, ball-shaped vegetable. In this country, I found like 5 different kinds of tomato, and it has different names, and even it looks different. So I was confused. She said I want tomato. Which one I should pick? What's even the difference? If there is any difference. And finally, I had just to go with the cheapest one. Because at the end of the day, it's in the salad.
Yeah.
It looks simple, but for us it was a challenge. Because it's the same when you want to buy toothpaste. When you want to buy anything. It's good to have a choice, but like 2, 3, and you will see which, or at least to understand what's the difference. We arrived on January 21st. Obama inauguration was on January 20th. So it was officially his first day in the office. And we arrived to Washington, D.C. And it was interesting when we drove from the airport. You still see some signs of the events from the day before. You cannot say that I live in DC and I don't care about politics. I don't know what's going on outside my city. No, you can't. You just can't. It's the capital. It's the president, White House, the House, the Congress. Everything is there. We know politicians, they lie all around the world without any exception. But there is this political lies, which means it's something I have to do for the sake of my country, for the sake of the meeting, for the sake of our protocols. I have to do it. But there are lies, really dirty and bad lies, that you shouldn't do it. You don't have to do that. You shouldn't do that. So all the history about the war, how it started, how it was justified, and the reasons that Bush administration they were talking about, and why they want to how they call it to liberate Iraq. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Among all the hundreds of dictatorships around the world, they picked this one. Yeah, he was a dictator. He was a very bad guy, I swear. But look at the map. There are other dozens around, not even far away. So why among all those people you are thinking about the Iraqis? If you've never ever drive a car before, even a bike, you've never drive anything, nothing at all, and I put you in a car, I turn it on, I lock the doors, and I told, go. You have to drive. You will drive. It will move. It's moving. Physically, the car is moving. But do you have an idea how many accidents you're going to make? That's the democracy of Iraq. Iraq never experienced democracy for decades, for generations. We were under the rule of one person for almost 3 decades. I was raised in that country where I haven't ever known another president. I haven't even thought it's possible to have another president. I didn't think this is something can happen because that's how I grew up. He's there. Since I was in the elementary school, mid school, high school, university, graduated, I was married, I had children, and they are seeing the same picture. No choice, again. And then someone will come and just drop this car and tell you, go and drive. It's your democracy. I will crash it. That's the democracy in Iraq. It's crashed. And it will keep crashing, crashing, and crashing until the people learn how to drive. And God only knows how long that will take. We lost tens of thousands of people's lives and properties and injuries and all this loses. And we are still trying even to identify someone to teach us how to drive the car. Not even to drive, just tell us how to do it. What I learned is you can't give democracy on tanks. You can't bring democracy on tanks, definitely. If you think about it, in 2003, 2004, 2005, and what the people at that time thought about, what the message was getting to them, what the media was showing to them, how they were looking to Iraq, how they were looking to what's going on around them and their country and their safety and their interests, everything about it. But by years, some stories came up, some documents, some evidence, or they couldn't find evidence, missing evidence. And the people started looking at, okay, hold a second. You said X, it's Y. So they recognized that it was a little bit late, especially for us. That was the wake of the people. What happened is because people, they understand. They started to understand. And they started to think, okay, we want our safety. We, of course, have the priority for our country, but definitely there is another way to do that. You should educate them. Don't give them. You cannot give them democracy. Educate them about it. Help them to learn what is it. And that really needs time. Starting from the kids at the school. The people will have the motivation because it's me. I'm doing this. It's not someone else enforcing me for it. And what's happening now in Libya, or in general what's happening in the Arab countries, of course it's totally different. It's totally different than the lesson was going to happen. We will bring them democracy. It's not the same, can be applied everywhere. And again, I'm afraid they will fall under the same mistake, because again, those people, they've never drove a car. The only difference is, in our case, a troop brought this car and put us there and locked the door and say, go ahead. In their case, they actually opened the door, pull out the driver, throw him away, and take the car. They were happy. We did it. Yes, great. It's a great job. I appreciate it. I'm so happy for that. I'm so happy to see that. But do you know how to drive? And whether it's cultural, I don't think even it's cultural, because if you go to United States, UK, France, pick any country in Africa, in Asia, in the Arab world, it's all the same. It has nothing to do with religion. It has nothing to do with culture. It's kind of shared and common principles. Here in the United States, if there was any power, a country with enough power coming to attack one of the states for any reason, under any justification, even if that state administration or the administration of the country, they made something wrong, they made something very bad, they had all the reasons, then another country will come to attack, to help those people. Do you think the American will stay home? No. The French? No. So it's the same in the Arab world. They don't want someone outside, from outside, to come and occupy the place and saying, I'm helping you.
ردي 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 خايبة ردي ردي يا ضعن ردي يا ضعن شتعن هلا.
I'm missing my family, and I hope they can have such life, quiet, with electricity, without generators, safety, good schools. But unfortunately, I know they don't have all these things. But they're still there back home, which kind of tells. You know, when you get old in a place, you really don't want to leave that place. Even if it's unsafe, you think, at some point you think, that's it, it's my home. Like my father, that's how he thinks, I believe. It's my home. I'm not leaving this house. أكثر شيء هم أهلي، أقاربي، البيت، وكل الذكريات الحلوة يعني اللي كانت هناك، حتى الناس اللي كنت أشتغل معهم، شغلي، كل ذكريات الحلوة. أشتاق لأبسط الأشياء، محل صغير اللي كنت أشتري منه المواد الغذائية، إلى أفران الخبز، إلى محل الآيس كريم، كل شيء.
ردي مليت الصبر ردي مليت الصبر ومقاطر الدمعة على خدي يا الهويتي يا الهويتي يا الهويتي بلا وجاد النوب من تهوين وجدي خلي قدامك كلام الناس خلي قدامك كلام الناس وبمشيك تهدي نحي عني محبتك نحي